Life is difficult. That's one of my favorite quotations. It comes from M. Scott Peck in his book, The Road Less Traveled. And then he goes on to say, this is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It is a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly know and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it is accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. Think about that. We're all struggling with all sorts of difficulties at the moment. The economy is struggling. Our supply chains are affected by the coronavirus, which affects our business. It's affecting tourism. Our organizations are struggling with restructuring. We are chasing lower and lower margins. It's been called the race to zero margin in an effort to win or retain customers. Our targets are impossible. The toxicity that we're experiencing in our workplaces because of the stress is palpable, and our teams feel overwhelmed and undervalued. And as we grapple with the fact that life is difficult, and as we resist it, we move into actions that we think are going to help us to control it. We do things like have way more meetings, meeting after meeting after meeting, rushing from meeting to meeting and meetings about meetings. We work much longer hours. We don't take breaks. We eat at our desks. If we eat junk food. We stop exercising. We zone out on social media. We use booze to relax and pills to sleep. We rush around and we obsess with the notion that life is difficult. And in doing that, in resisting that life is difficult, what we're doing is we're tapping into our lower selves. We are impatient. We are short-tempered. We stop listening. If we were able to just accept that life is difficult, how would we change the way we behave? If you knew that your current difficulties were never going to end, if you knew that there was nothing in your behavior that was going to change the difficulty that you're dealing with, wouldn't you decide that then there's no point in continuing with your highly stressed behavior? Because it's not going to change anything. You might as well live your life. So entertain that thought. Let's entertain the thought that this difficulty, all that's going to change is the source of the difficulty. This difficulty will end. There may be a period when life is not difficult, and then it will get difficult again. And it moves in cycles. So how do we deal with difficulty in a way that does not rob our lives of quality? The first is to practice acceptance. Just accept that this is how things are. Life is difficult. You can't fight it. There's no point in fighting it. You can't control it. So accept it. The second thing that is a really useful tactic is to get some perspective. And usually it's in our conversations with people that we trust that we're able to gain perspective. Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a trusted work friend? Somebody with whom you can go up onto the balcony, so to speak, and look at how the game is being played and think about how you're playing that game and what you might want to change about that game. The third thing that you can do is reclaim some of your essential disciplines. Take back that exercise time. Make some time for a relaxation practice or a meditation practice. Make sure you eat well. The brain, which is what you're using to cope with your difficulties, is a calorie-hungry machine, but it needs good quality calories if it's going to function well. Why don't you create for yourself a to-don't list? A list of things you will either not do for now or stop doing entirely. It is the most liberating thing to have a list of things that you will not do. Slow down. Walk slower. Talk slower. Listen more. Your rushing from place to place is communicating to everybody around you, everybody who's important, your teams who depend on you, your children who adore you, your spouse who wants time with you. Your rushing around communicates to all of them that you don't have time or space in your life for them. And is that what you mean? Do you really not have time or space in your life for them? And remember, every one of those roles is a leadership role. And leaders are dealers in hope. And you cannot deal in hope when you are desperate, when you are frantic. So slow down. Have some fun. Play a silly game. Watch a silly movie. Go and play with your children, but have some fun. Laughter really is the best medicine. That oxytocin is such a beautiful antidote for the stress hormones that are racing around your body when life is difficult. And practice your faith. When life is difficult, one of the most supportive things in your life is your faith, because it gives you the sense that you're not alone. You're not doing this by yourself. You don't have to control it all. You don't have to have it all under your belt. Faith is such a powerful support when life is difficult. So what we're saying is that when life is difficult, and it is, and it nearly always is, the most important thing that you can practice is self-care. Because when you take care of yourself, what you bring to the challenge is your higher self. And when you bring your higher self, then you're able to support the people around you who are probably also having a difficult time. Now, when life is difficult and life is really busy, to start putting in place a shopping list of self-care practices may well seem completely overwhelming. So why don't you start small? Why don't you start with something small? Claim for yourself half an hour of exercise every day. Make that your non-negotiable. There's a place to start. Or claim for yourself 15 minutes of meditation every morning and every afternoon. Great for setting up your day the right way. Great for relaxing after a stressful day. It doesn't really matter where you start in terms of self-care. What matters is that you start and that you do something. And with each tactic of self-care that you implement, you're going to find that you actually become more effective instead of less effective. We assume that when life is difficult, the solution is to work hard. And we work hard to the exclusion of all else. But actually, when life is difficult, the solution is hard work, exercise, sleep, relaxation, and fun. Those are the things that enable us to cope when life is difficult. So we're all in this together, and we're all experiencing difficulty. If you think that you would benefit from working with a coach, drop me a message in the comments and let's get together for a call and see if we can work together. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do when life is difficult, and it's really up to you. You have a great day.